Yeah, it has really not been easy because we are working from an opposition point of view. When you are working from an opposition point of view, the challenges are enormous. At the same time, it's an area we are familiar with. The terrain we know, and the terrain we have passion for. So we've been able to do a lot in terms of initiating of laws that can make Nigeria better. And one of those key ones is the Federal Polytechnic Kwale that has been passed into law by House of Rep, but Senate have refused to concur with it. And I have reached out to the senator representing me to try and put in more fire from that, because that is the needs of my people. I believe that in no distant time he will address the issue. I think that is one key issue that is too dear to me. Aside making Nigerian maritime sector to work effectively, 2 of my laws are there, or 3, that I've initiated. I think I've initiated more than 30 bills now in the floor of the House just to make Nigeria better. And you see, I'm happy when you begin to initiate law and the law is working. Today, the CBN were able to release about 50 billion to Nigerians through the laws I made. Collateral registry and movable asset laws. People use the movable asset to be able to take loans and address their concern. And that's the happiness that comes to me, that what I initiated is helping a lot of Nigerians out of poverty. What I initiated is putting a lot of smile on the face of people. And the motion I moved to address some concern in our key areas have also been touched. Like some roads that I moved that they should rehabilitate. They have done that. And apart from the one we have recently put in the budget now to address the key area of my town, which is Kwale Major Road, which is already reflected in the budget. We're talking of the IPP that over the years we have taken a lot of funds to do. In the initial one, we started with 1.2 billion. The second tranche of it was 1.8 billion. And the third tranche was 800 million. And this time around, this year, it's another 800 million to actually actualize the job for between now and December. I believe that the contractors would have been rounding up the project, and that's my concern. Our people have no light, and you need light for a multiplier effect in terms of business activity in that key area. It's so important and dear to me. Apart from areas I've gone to lecture in some places, training legislators, and that's part of my business. I think that's what we've done really. Apart from smaller other projects like water scheme, renovation of schools, building of classroom blocks for schools, ICTs for some schools, which we have done. It's itemized in my 1-year distance, which I released in my website. We have confronted the executive over the years, and probably it has not yielded much result. This time around, let's engage them. Sit down with them and see some reasons. I think that is what over the 1 year we have started. And you cannot be able to assess it totally now, because in the first 1 year, how much has been released, for projects, in terms of constituency projects and other capital projects. It is when you are able to assess it in totality, because in the other year, we inherited only 6 months, a backlog of the other budget. So you can't use that to assess the first 1 year workings. It has not really been easy for everybody. The world has been faced with a lot of pandemic, coronavirus, and you can't be able to use this period to assess the government on the nature of the release of funds. So I believe that in the next 1 year, which this budget, revised budget has been passed, we can be able to assess the relationship, whether it has been fruitful, because it is only when the benefits accrues to the masses, which you represent, which are their voice, that you can say the relationship has been fruitful. Has it been relationship been one-sided? Those are issues you need to relate. But as of now, you can't be able to quantify that. I believe in going forward to be able to look that. But I like a situation of engagement. That has always been the principle. We didn't come here to represent a political party. I came here to represent Ndokwa Ukwuani federal constituencies, and I'm their voice, aside the vehicle upon which I came to National Assembly. But first of all and foremost, I'm the voice of Ndokwa Nation. And what concerns Ndokwa Nation is how to get a federal polytechnic how to get good road constructed from Kwale to Ashaka, and from Ashaka to Uchi and to Abo. That's how to get those good roads. How to get road from Eko straight passing through Obiaroko. The road is in a bad shape. How to make sure that road is tied. Although it has been awarded for two construction companies. One is starting from Iroa side, and the other one is starting from Eko side. Now, Obiaroko is at the center. How, when, and how will it reach Obiaroko is my concern, because it's my federal constituency. And that bad spot represents a bad shape to my people. And how a little rehabilitation can be done before that road is completed is my concern. I think those are the key issues that concern me in terms of representing my people. There are a lot of treaties Nigerians have signed, and those treaties concern human rights. And also some of them concern issues of oil exploration. Most especially the liability and compensation aspect has not been domesticated. So it's my concern that it should be. I have written to the agency concerned in terms of NIMASA. I've written to the Minister of Justice. Most of the treaties are here. We intend to do what is called public hearing. But first of all, I will initiate it and present it as a bill before the House. And they will now invite all of your prospecting organizations to come appear before us and see reason with it, and we pass it. The most important thing is a bill that will protect the interests of oil-bearing communities. So it is one issue that I attach a lot of passion for, and for the first time, National Assembly has been able to get almost 400 treaties agreements over the years has not been gotten for the first time. Because, you see, when I resume as chairman of this committee, I put up a template, an agenda, and I work based on agenda, and I was successful in the first 1 year in terms of, because one, we have been able to inaugurate a depository office in the office of the Attorney General and Minister of Justice for the first time since 1960. So that agenda has been achieved. The second time is that the National Assembly has been able to communicate with agency ministries on issues of all treaties signed, which have been deposited before us now. So the issue is analysis. And I have also conveyed my annual report to the Speaker based on these issues that I've gotten for the first stage. So the second stage is analysis, analyzing most of these agreements. Which one is better for Nigeria? Which one did Nigeria sign wrongly? We'll be able to look at it and engage that country. And Nigeria signed these issues to review. I think that's the purpose of getting this committee running. I want to make sure that anything that will be beneficial to Nigeria will be addressed before we leave this committee. Secondly, this committee has been able to dive into areas that have not been dived into, like the oil companies' MOUs. This committee is still working on MOU, and the oil companies are responding effectively to communities by signing a global MOU with communities. And that makes sure that it reduces conflict between oil companies and the community concerned. And the communities are benefiting in terms of physical infrastructures. I think that's the concern of the committee, putting smile on the faces of Nigeria, especially oil-bearing communities. That area has been addressed. And the committee has also been given an assignment to look at all agreements that are financial with China.
Okay.
I can vividly tell you that I have written to the Minister for Transport. I've also written to the Attorney General of Federation. I've written to the Accountant General. I've written to the CBN. I've written to the Minister of Finance. And all these people have responded, apart from Minister of Transportation. We intend to remind him before we do a public hearing on the matter. We're going to engage the press, because everything I do is transparently communicated. That is the E aspect of the legislature. Mine is a transparent process. I'm a teacher of the subject matter. And as a teacher of the subject matter, I must be abide with the concept and the direction on how things must work in an e-parliament. And that's what I do. I have done that for the past 20 years, from the House of Assembly up to National Assembly. So the passion to serve has always been there. When I'm not serving the people, I'm not always happy. I want to see that you are smiling. And when you are smiling, I'm smiling. I'm happy. Then that is what I derive. I'm born to rule and to lead. For the night assembly, I think it's between 10 to 12. That really impacted our people. Bills are up to 30. We are still working on some bills. There are some innovative bills I've brought in. I intend to push, most especially what concerns me now as a committee chairman on treaties, to pushing about 40 bills from treaties that has not been domesticated. I want to make sure that those treaties are domesticated. If we can domesticate 100 in the next 3 years, then we'll have achieved something out of the 400 and something. That means for the first time, treaties have been domesticated in Nigeria. That shows the coordination. That shows that the engagement with the executive, being on the same page as people who are in the same institution. So I believe that. I think that's my driving force. So that the committee the new committee chairman is going to take over from me. You must have raised the bar for him to fill up, and that's what I do. I left ethics and privileges that was not known before to a certain level, and I believe that today you are enjoying the job of ethics and privileges, because now you now have a draft copy of a budget. Yeah. We are in this assembly, both in 7th and 7th, we never have anything like draft copy. Well, since 8th assembly, I stood my ground that members must pass budget clause by clause, and it took effect. And today, it has been a precedent that at any budget time there must be draft copy, including the last revised one. There was a draft. So that shows that the thing you started have gained ground, and it has helped a lot of people. So, and that has always been my goal, to achieve where others have failed. That's what I see. I want to impart knowledge on the coming generations, and that's why I like reading, and I want to impart knowledge so that people will be able to remember a lot of the institution called National Assembly. And there are a lot of functions, different functions in National Assembly that you can impact on incoming generations, and before they come into contest election, they are fully abreast of what they are coming to do. Every person will take his own line. Today, I can vividly tell you that I'm an authority on oversight. Yeah. I have done a lot of work on oversight, and I can vividly tell you that I lay claim to be an authority in that field, and that's the area I've developed myself, and I believe I need to impart that knowledge on people who are part of the people who cause the problem. All leadership in Nigerians are the ones who cause the problem that they are facing today, demand from the constituency. Because one, when we are transiting from a mixed economy into a capitalist economy, there were no proper laying of foundations to transit from a mixed economy into a capitalist economy. Today, you say government have no business in business. Well, government have business in business. How many industries did government left? You sell most of government parastatals industry to private organizations who never revived it. You have been able to commercialize the energy sectors to the extent that even the disco could not add even a pin to the existing one. And the people have no job. So you created the poverty. And the pressure is mounting on you. So you cannot claim not to be part of the problem. I think we are part of the problem. If I were to sit down to address the problem of this country, the teeming youth will have job and they will not ask you for anything. Wow. That's the truth of the matter. The leadership of this country have impoverished the people. And the people are responding by giving them pressure. So until we sit down and be able to address the energy problem of this country, one, to address, you can't expect foreigners to come and invest in your country if you have not invested at all. You must invest. Federal government should go into IPP program, PPP program, invest on certain number of money on certain key sectors and build up an industry. and bring in private organizations to manage it and employ our people, then the National Assembly members will have less problem. Nobody will come to their door and be agitating for house rent.
And support.
And we'll go into farming and deploy more money, not 50 billion that CBN is deploying. Deploy about 2 trillion into the farming sectors and engage the youth and teach them. First of all, use the agri extension officers to teach them for 3 months, those who are sending into farm, on method of farming, processes and practice of it, and deploy seedling and deploy some financial help, and check the next 1 year and put in some industry that will process most of this produce, whether Nigeria will not explode in terms of commercial sectors. What are we talking? We have impoverished our people, and we are getting the response, the agitation of the people, pressure of the people towards us, and we are complaining. Democracy is the government of people, by the people and for the people. But I see democracy as the government of the majority, and that's what I see. So. Yeah, the country constitution is really not very effective because it was handled by military, so we didn't discuss it. Or the constitution say, we the people, where did we sit down to discuss about the constitution? This country must be restructured. That's the only way to go. This country must be restructured. Every state is not supposed to be equal. Depending on how you use your resources and your brain, the personnel you use to derive revenue for your state. After all states are not equal in the United States of America. There are some richer states that have fund. There are some oil producing states that do not have the kind of fund some other state that does not have oil.
Like Texas.
Even Maryland, one of the richest. So what are we talking about? This country should be restructured. 50% stay back for the state, 30% to the federal government, and 20% for emergency. That means you are paying tax of 30% of revenue derived down to federal government. Reduce the tension in the state, in the federal, and build up the states. States can have their laws that guides them. A state that pay much on tax, you won't see investor going to that state. But a state that is very liberal in terms of taxation, people invest in those states and increase manpower. And that's the way to go. Until the country is more competitive through physical federalism, we're not moving anywhere, we're moving in a circle. And that's the truth of the matter. And when a democracy is moving in a circle, then it has no bearing. So I also want a lean government. Even when you have a federation, you can still practice a lean government through parliamentary system. Instead of having a bogus democratic structures on presidential democracy, we can practice more parliamentary system of government that is related to our traditional ways of living. It's a lean government. It's a government that is not too expensive to maintain structures of governance. It's a government that before you elect people, the person must be equal to becoming a minister. You don't just elect people. You elect people with quality. You elect people who can analyze data. You elect people who is knowledgeable. You can also elect a farmer, a strong farmer, who, even if he's a school cert, or a great farmer that have proven himself to be a great farmer, he can represent the farmers. He's representing a particular sectors of the economy. I think we should be more practical. We should be more serious. Instead of running a very, very expensive presidential democracy system of government, it doesn't make sense. That is the government have done excellently very well. And do you know why you are seeing the rise in COVID-19 data? Because data have more means of testing people.
Okay.
The state that is not testing, you see their number low. They're not testing. People are dying. They're not testing. But data state have the capacity to accommodate, so they are going to very serious testing. Why did the governor daughter contact the COVID-19 is because he's a medical doctor. She's a medical doctor.
Okay.
She's somebody that works with passion
Passion.
for the job. And that's what the father used to do when the father was really practicing. The father can, do operation within the next 20, 30 minutes, and it has come out from theater. That's the kind of nature, intelligent you see in Ndokwa. And the daughter has picked it up as somebody who has passion, who relate with his patient. And that's why he contacted it. And God is going to heal her, because God knows that she was doing it and healing people. And that's the essence of it. And governor did not hide it. He came out openly to tell the whole world. And the daughter, contacted it, and he himself is isolating himself with the family. That is a governor who is practical. That's a governor that is transparent. We did a lot. First of all, we released our 2-month salary and offered to the nation. It's not easy to stay without salary for 2 months. I think if they are going to pay me, it's this month that they will pay me salary. I've not received salary for the past 2 months. So it has been given to the federal government. That's one thing we did for our constituents. The second one is that we took proactive measures in terms of sending relief materials to our constituents. And before then, we conscientized our constituents in terms of how sanitizer can be used, and basing our decision using the state government's guideline, to reach out to our people, to educate them on the use of face masks, on the use of sanitizer and all that. But we'll deploy some resources in terms of buying rice, buying beans, tomato, and indomie and others that we send to different group of people in the federal constituency. And some will also send physical cash to some persons. So I think that's what we did, to augment, because this is a time you help your brother in need. I think that's what I've done for them. Virtually all members of the National Assembly did that. Yeah, they should be patient with us. That's my parting gift to our people. And I want to thank them for electing us. It's not easy. The confidence they have in us.
For the third time.
For the third time. And I pray that I will not fail them. Their needs will be addressed gradually, taking them on their scale of preference and the opportunity cost. So I believe that I'll do my best to those key areas that is affecting them. My people needs a lot of road. So I believe that in going forward, we'll be addressing the road in every year, taking one road each time. At the end of the day, we'll know the extent of what I've done, and leave the other one for God.